This is the Expanding Boundaries podcast.
Do you feel trapped? Stuck in a world of mediocrity, constrained by bad habits, limiting beliefs, and feeling unfulfilled? Do you feel that deep down you know you were destined for much more? In Expanding Boundaries, you'll discover how you can break free and step into your real life, a life without limits. And now, here's your host, Michael McLeish.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me here on the very first episode of the Expanding Boundaries podcast. As mentioned just a second ago, I am Michael McLeish, and I will be your host on this journey. So thank you very much for joining me here today. I wanted to record this first show here in my office in Colorado Springs and take a few moments to outline a few basic details about this podcast that we've created here, and we're going to be shooting over the next several weeks, if not years, to come for your enjoyment. So first off, why another podcast in the first place? Why might you want to listen? I'll give you a little bit more detail about my background and more about what this show is going to look like, what kind of format we're going to have there, and where are we going with the show. Okay. So first off, why another podcast? There's a lot of podcasts out there. Why would you want to listen to this one? Well, this podcast is really for anybody who just feels stuck in their business or in their career. Maybe they've got a company or two and they're feeling just like can't get over the hump there. There's something holding them back. Or maybe they're in a career that they enjoy, but again, they're not quite to the level they want to be. Maybe you're even thinking about starting up a business, or you're considering that and you're not really sure, where to begin in terms of, building that muscle in your mind to be able to take that first big step. But really, the show is for anybody who's open to new ideas, they're growth-oriented, and they acknowledge what got them to where they are today is not going to get them to where they want to go. And really, this podcast is not for somebody who is just, wants to avoid challenges, doesn't like learning new ideas, doesn't like learning new things, and they're basically settled in and okay with their daily lives. And there's nothing wrong with that by any means, but again, they might not be as drawn to this podcast. And I guess why podcasts in general, I'll just mention that I did kick off my entrepreneurial journey several years ago when I had a normal 9-to-5 job in corporate America. And I really enjoyed listening to podcasts, and that helped me seek some common ground with people that are already where I wanted to be. And it helped me gain some confidence and give me some new actionable ideas. So I knew what I needed to do to start my first business. And so really, I want to do the same for others. Again, I want to help you be challenged and to come up with some new ideas and ultimately have some actionable items that you can take and run and hopefully get you to where you want to go. So what this show is going to be about, again, just to reiterate what I've already started to say, this show is going to be about thinking bigger. It's going to be about the pursuit of freedom. It's going to be overcoming limiting beliefs. It's going to be about making big paradigm shifts and maybe some small shifts too. There's a big element of financial freedom that's important that I think I'd like to share with people, from fundamentals as well as some creative hacks that maybe you hadn't thought of before. And I'm going to be having some topics and speakers on the show that will really, really challenge the status quo. I'm excited to get into some of those. And of course, what's really important to me and my family is just travel and lifestyle. So there will definitely be some shows with those types of flavors. Format of the show is going to be primarily interviews, and there will be some monologues like this, obviously, where I'll share some past experiences or some aha moments that I've had, or maybe some current challenges or ideas or shifts that I'm going through at the moment. What you can expect, though, is I will present you with some game-changing and probably uncomfortable topics from time to time. I'm going to give you some new ideas. And again, I'm going to challenge you to think a little differently every episode. And hopefully you'll get some good value out of that. I will be imperfect. I'm going to be awkward, but I will be genuine and I will be vulnerable. We're all in this journey here together, and I just want to be a catalyst and a support for you on your own journey. So I'll give you a little bit more background about me. And first I'll say, I do not have it all figured out. I am on very much the same or similar journey as many of you listening right now. And for some of you, I might be just ahead, and others, I might be just behind. But again, we're all in this together. And I think we all have things that we can share with one another to help us move forward in our own journeys. There's an expression out there that says, your network is your net worth. And I'll tell you, I've paid over 6 figures for coaching and masterminds over the last 5 years. And so I want to share some of that knowledge and some of those experiences I've had from my network, whether it be from coaching or from masterminds or other people that are in similar businesses or in businesses that I want to grow into and be like. So with that, I'll have some interviews with some top performers from my network and some people that I think will really, really help give you some new ideas and a fresh look at things. So who am I exactly? Well, I was actually born and raised in rural North Dakota, lived on a farm there, and it was a very small town. In fact, my first school that I went to in elementary school closed. In the 8th grade, I actually had to bus 12 miles to a different town where they combined schools. To give you an idea, I graduated in a class of 14 there in Hazleton, North Dakota. And from there, I went to college in Montana State University in Bozeman. I was in Air Force ROTC there. And after that, I did serve in the United States Air Force for about 6.5 years. Was stationed in a few places from Hill Air Force Base, Utah, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and Eglin Air Force Base there in Northwest Florida in the Fort Walton Beach area. I was married in 2009, and Kim and I now have 2 boys, ages 6 and 10, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur since 2016. As I mentioned before, we do currently live in Colorado Springs, and I actually currently own and operate 2 small companies in the real estate space remotely here from Colorado. One of those companies buys and sells distressed single-family homes in South Carolina, and the other, actually, we are flipping land both in Colorado as well as Oklahoma. Some other income streams that I have trying to get some more traction in also, there's affiliate sales, and I'm always looking for some other opportunities, and I will be sharing some of those as they develop here on the podcast as well. My family and I, we love to travel. We love to be outdoors. We love, again, to explore things here locally, as well as get on the road or even on an airplane and get out of the country. We love camping. We spent a lot of time outdoors in the summertime, especially when the boys are out of school. I particularly love off-roading. I've got a pretty good Jeep that I like to take off-road and test what that vehicle can do, although I'm not as extreme as some others out there probably listening, but I really enjoy getting out there and doing that. And overall, just exploring. Me and my whole entire family, we just love exploring, trying new foods, trying the back roads from time to time. And that's it. It just really, we all have those exploring hearts, if you will. So where am I going and how am I going to get there? In many ways, some people might say I've accomplished a lot. And the truth is I am just getting started in many ways though. And I do intend on furthering my own mindset and continuing to clarify my own vision for the future. I'm going to continue increasing both my financial and my time independence, and really everything I'm doing, if it's not family oriented, is going to be towards those goals right now. 3 to 5 years from now, I know I'm going to be evolved into a completely different person. And I guess that's just the journey that those of us who strive for growth, we should all be saying the same thing, in my opinion. So I think that's just about it for today's show. And again, I don't know about you, but I do really feel like I'm just getting started. I'm, just in the last year, I've made some very big changes in my own mindset, and I'm going to continue to expand on that. Question is, do you find yourself on a similar path? And if you do you want to join me? And do you want to do this journey together? I challenge you, why not, learn from my mistakes, and maybe you don't have to make the same ones. Why not get some ideas from my network? And why not learn some of the same lessons that I did without maybe quite as much pain as some of them were. So I think that's it for this very first show. I really appreciate you listening in. So I do have a couple requests for you, though, if you don't mind. I'd love it. It would really help me out if you just please subscribe to this podcast and get ready, because we're going to have an exciting ride together on expanding boundaries. If this show does resonate with you, please tell a friend or an associate or just really anyone you think that would find value in this podcast, and please share that on social media. Speaking of social media, you can also connect with me directly. Probably the easiest places to find me right now, where I'm most active, is going to be on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find me there just by doing a quick search for Michael McLeish Official. And feel free to shoot me a direct message. I will definitely do my best to respond to you right away. So that's it. That's a wrap. And I appreciate you listening in here on my very first episode. Stay tuned for upcoming shows where we will really dive deep into some really fun, interesting, and challenging topics, and we will begin expanding boundaries together. Thanks for listening.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.